I believed that I was clear of cancer the moment that I cleared my emotional clutter. Once I forgave people that hurt me and all the people that as a youngster I hurt, with immaturity, things like that. Really, it's almost like I lifted a piano off my shoulders, of my soul.
You're listening to the What the Gut podcast, where busy moms can come for a holistic approach to health and vitality. I'm Allison, your host, a holistic health and wellness coach. In this space, we'll dive into the intricacies of achieving holistic wellness while balancing the demands of daily life as a busy mom. What the Gut is your haven for navigating the challenges that come with juggling numerous tasks while aiming for a healthier, more balanced life. Join me as we uncover practical solutions to common health hurdles, from managing fatigue to understanding all things gut health. Through insightful discussions, actionable insights, and tailored lifestyle strategies, my goal here is to empower you to embrace a vibrant, nourishing life while saying goodbye to being overwhelmed and exhausted. So if you're ready to embark on this transformative journey towards holistic well-being, hit that subscribe button. Get ready to discover the secrets to thriving in motherhood while nurturing your overall wellness. A quick reminder, everything discussed here is for educational and empowering purposes only and is not intended for personalized medical advice. Consult your personal healthcare provider for personalized medical advice. Welcome to What the Gut, where we create our own path to holistic health, one episode at a time. Today, we're joined by an incredible individual whose life journey is nothing short of inspiring. After surviving a 10-year battle with stage 4 melanoma, enduring 10 surgeries, and overcoming brain metastasis, they turned to a holistic healing when pharmaceuticals nearly destroyed their body. Now, 12 years later, cancer-free, he's made it his mission to help others live in wellness and purpose. As a holistic health and life coach, functional nutritionist, professional speaker, hypnotherapist, and best-selling author of Beating the Odds, Georges is here to empower others to transform their health and vitality. Let's welcome Georges Cordoba. I'm really glad that you're here today. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. And so I just love your story, and I'm excited for you to share it with our listeners. But you're a stage 4 melanoma with metastasis in the brain cancer survivor, and you've been cancer-free for, is it 12 years?
Yeah, 12 years.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so you've gone on and written books and became a certified health coach, life coach, all kinds of awesome things. I'm sure you have so many more things to tell than just what you've told me already, but I would love for you to share your story and encourage my listeners, because we're all about health and wellness here.
Well, thank you. Yes, it goes really back to when I was 4 years old. I lost my grandfather from my mother's side. And from then on, pretty much everybody in my family has died of cancer.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you talk about mindset, I feared the disease since I was a youngster, a very young kid, young boy. So when I looked at the landscape of my whole entire family, I felt like I was doomed. I mean, and this thing at the end of the day plagued me. I was diagnosed with advanced melanoma. At the time, my first lesion was on the right top of my skull. They took it out with margins and so forth. At the moment, I had 5 young children. We have twins in the family. Well, now they're all adults. But so it was crazy. My mother had passed of cancer 3 weeks before my diagnosis. Lung
Did your
cancer.
Okay, I was gonna ask, I'm sorry, was the cancer that ran in your family all melanoma or just very
No,
few kinds?
no.
Okay.
And what I've learned as a nutritionist, and obviously when I was sick, I made a point. Well, like I say, basically, I felt like I was doomed. So when I got the diagnosis, even though it was an emotional roller coaster, I said no. I said, I'm going to beat the odds. I'm going to survive this and be the first family member that survives cancer. So I went on my road and I fought the disease for 10 years. I had 10 surgeries, including 4 in the brain for 4 craniotomies. If I mean, you might be able to see in 2 here, 1 here, and 1 on this side, 2 gamma knives, and then, they extracted between the 2 sides of the neck. This is in 10 years, 53 lymph nodes and a muscle, so they could get to a couple of lymph nodes that they couldn't get to. And by the way, those were the only ones positive. So in a way, I was lucky. But I on year 8, Alice and I I took a leap of faith and I decided to go natural. Pharmaceuticals were basically destroying my body, my quality of life as a father with a young father with kids. It was just crazy. I was already a CTO working as a executive in technology, and I had no idea how much that was going to hurt me as well. It just everything changes when you get a diagnosis of cancer, and in my case, it was pretty advanced. I think one of the things that helped me a lot was that I was very healthy. I'm an athlete since I was also 5 playing tennis. And that's how I got here to the States with a scholarship to play NCAA tennis. And then I tried pro and all the stuff. So, but that helped me a lot because in the national junior team, we have an Olympian from Yugoslavia that taught us how to visualize, how to see ourselves winning the matches or working things that would actually were not, they were in our mind. For example, in my case, every time my dad came to watch me, I would play really bad because everybody was expecting me to play like him. He was a Davis Cup player. And so I had to work on that. Other teammates would have other issues. So when I decided to go natural on year 7, almost year 8, after my first craniotomy, I decided that I was going to go the natural route, the holistic natural route to heal. And here I am. It's been 12 years in this past July, cancer free. So in 2017, I took another leap of faith, and it wasn't the right moment for most people. I have doctors in my family that say, no, no, don't quit chemo and radio, just keep going. And I said, look, I do know that it's not working for me. So I basically make that decision. And then the second big decision was to live the corporate world and go into the health and wellness. And for the last 7 years, I've been helping people that are fighting, that are dealing with cancer or the threat of it. But it's happened as well with the threat of it that there's other people with chronic disease, diabetes, for example. I've worked with many people like that, and heart disease. I have the protocols for that. And it is interesting. I have to share with you that almost 50% of the US population has 1 or 2 chronic diseases at this moment. This is the state of health now. I'm doing a talk in Toronto the last weekend of this month. And so I do usually a little bit of research, current research, both for the US and Canada. Canada is not, it's just that it's a smaller population, but it's really scary. I mean, why is this happening? 1 or 2 men will have cancer in their lifetime, and 1 or 3 women will have cancer in their lifetime. So the question is why? And what happened to me was that, and as I think I mentioned it to you, for me, what I do today is a blessing. I mean, surviving this advanced melanoma with mets in the brain, I see it as a blessing when I look back because I believe God gave me the chance to sing the song I was born to sing, my purpose, and it was to help people. So that's what I do. Sometimes even Saturdays, I take my time. I learned my lessons when I was younger and I got sick. It's emotional, by the way, more so than hereditary. What we inherit is really the lifestyle
Yeah.
and a culture. And then with epigenetics, we have found now that it really is not as people think. Even melanoma, which you think is exposure to UV rays, it's emotional as well. All chronic disease comes from emotions, and they're emotional, but they present themselves in acidic bodies, bodies that are inflamed.
Yeah.
No, not exceptions to the rule. So that's a key right there. And that's one thing that I teach my clients right off the bat, So in my case, in my book, I really explain I had no coaching with me, basically everything I learned with tennis. So I really became, after I went through the why me process, I basically say, what for? Why did I get this thing? You know? And I always saw it as my toughest opponent in my life. And so I visualized night and day. 3 times a day, I would visualize myself free of cancer. I'm a person of faith. So I would see, for example, the image of the love rays of Jesus going through my head and just cleaning my body. You guys might be too young to remember this game, Pac-Man.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, with the little creatures. I would actually visualize those little creatures eating up the cancer cells and the tumors. And so it was an amazing experience. I realized, and that's why now I work on the holistic area, that like I say, all diseases are emotional. So I learned my survival experience was to finding out I really prayed and meditated. I love to meditate for discernment. So I thought, well, you know, maybe I need to forgive somebody. Maybe somebody needs to forgive me. Maybe I have to forgive myself. And I worked from the emotional side of my holistic self. We have a spiritual self, a mental self, an emotional self, and a physical self. We're not just a body. Everything manifests there. So basically, also, I did a minor in nutrition when I went to school here. I studied computer science, but I did a minor in nutrition for competition. So I used a lot of that, and nothing really changed so much other than I understood what the importance of having a balanced pH. When I decided to go natural, the first thing I did, and when I made the decision, it's almost like the universe conspired from I just said, this can't be. I'm blessed with 5 kids. I'm a good dad. I take them camping. I'm their soccer coach, their tennis coach. Why me?
Yeah.
But everything has a reason and everybody has mountains to move. The steepest so far has been cancer. And with a little faith, or with faith as little as a mustard seed is being said, you can tell the mountain to move from here to there and it would happen. And so I really looked at those things. My prayers, things started to happen to me that I had no idea that they would come to my life at the moment that I thought, my goodness, I could hear the door knob of, okay, I'm gonna be another victim. I had that in my mind several times, even though I said no. So I found it in 3 areas: my spiritual side, which is not necessarily religion, by the way. It could be both, like me, but it could be not like that. The mindset, the rules of the mind I learned, as I became also a hypnotherapist, then the emotional side and the physical side. And so learning all those things and putting them to practice, it is said that faith without action is dead. Show me your faith with your actions, not by going somewhere and tithing, and show me your faith with your actions. So I apply that to me. I have to take action. I'm not going to have a magic wand and have, the source God that I call God giving me my health. I have to fight for it.
Yeah.
But it is important to know that the rule of the mind, that it really is most important, is that our minds go to where we are familiar, where what that's familiar. And for all of us, Alison, for all of us, what's familiar is to go to an oncologist and to go and do that. There's no other alternative as far as our training, our mind. But there's 12 other rules. In one of them, which is very powerful, the power of the mind it's amazing, is that the mind does whatever you say, you picture, or you right? Basically, everything that you say or think, the mind does everything possible and it makes it happen. So it happens. So it doesn't know if you're saying something that is true or false, just does it. If it's what it doesn't know is tomorrow or the past. So if you say in the present that you're healed and you repeat that and you have the certainty that that would happen, then that's really the description or the meaning of faith is the certainty of what you want, because you know that there's some source out there that will make it happen as long as you take action. So I don't wish my experience to anyone, but if I look back now, I also see in many cases with my clients that it has to happen something, especially with men, something really terrible has to happen before they realize, oh my goodness, I'm not unbeatable, especially with heart disease. I say that us men know that we have a heart when we have a heart attack. Other than that, we never know. So, but yeah, and so it was 10 years surgeries, 4 of them craniotomies. And there's a lot of stuff that happened in those 10 years, particularly towards once I decided, to take the natural route, things really happened. And interestingly enough, my oncologist, which is not very common, agreed. He said, are you sure, Georges, that you want to quit these treatments and stuff? And I was going through like the third try. I mean, they tried everything. And I said yes, but I asked him if I said, I would appreciate if you continue to do follow ups with me. And he agreed. So along the way, he would say, man, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. And in the medical world, as you know, they call it spontaneous remission, but I did it. And I believed that I was clear of cancer the moment that I cleared my emotional clutter. Once I forgave people that hurt me and all the people that as a youngster I hurt, with the immaturity, things like that. Really, it's almost like I lifted a piano off my shoulders, of my soul. And boy, and I stopped producing cortisol, which is really what and get us really our bodies inflamed. It could be it's emotional stuff, clutter that is there for years. As a hypnotist, I could tell you for sure it's one big reason why people get recurrences. If you don't, recurrence happen because you haven't really stopped the root of
Yeah.
where this thing is started, and it's not really in the body manifested there. So, but it's been quite a journey. And today, for me, it's really a call. I always wake up in the morning and I'm just so thankful. And I always keep in mind, which is really important, especially for younger people and even older people, that today is the first day of the rest of our lives. So we might as well, if we had some sort of news about our health, things will be different. But we take for granted our time, which is not renewable. It's
Right.
after our talk today, that's gone. So you may think, well, that's philosophical, but if we have that mindset and that gratitude, that's spirituality. You see that mountain behind me. My backyard it actually faces that mountain here in Las Cruces, New Mexico, which is when I went to school. Our kids finished school, college and stuff. And so we decided to move over here. I'm not so close. I was running and I stopped and took a picture, but I'm about 8 miles from that. And that's, you look at that and you say, wow, what an amazing creation. And then you go to Brazil, you go to Montana, you go to California, anywhere in the world is beautiful. It has a beautiful sunset, a beautiful sunrise. And then, yeah, you wonder, things change when you go through an experience like I was. But I wrote my book in South Beach, Florida, my first book. I'm running 2 more now. And right in every Saturday and Sunday, I will go there right before the sunrise. And guess what? No one was there. Very few people can probably say, they could probably count it with one hand all the times that I've seen a sunrise. We just take our time for granted, and that's not the case. We need to make time for ourselves. If not, we're a timing bomb. We will be one of those statistics.
Yes. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I mean, it's really inspiring, and I hear everything you're saying and just love it. While I have not had a diagnosis like you have, I have had a near death experience that really put me into that same perspective that you have
Yes.
now, where it's like you're thankful to be alive. And why did you go through that? What purpose are you going to use that for now? And for God's glory in whatever way that is,
Hmm.
how I view it too. And so I love that. And I'm really curious, like, with your family history of always having some kind of cancer, how did you feel whenever you got your cancer diagnosis?
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't surprised because, again, it's the mind, what we think, what we start, and we start recording that and we put it in our subconscious minds. It happened. What I feared happened.
Yeah.
But then at that time, when it happened, I looked. It was almost like in a flash. I could go back to four and I see my grandfather, my grandmother's sisters, my mom, my uncle, her brother, before my mom, and some relatives, and I'm thinking, wow, this was really my turn. And, basically. But at that time, like I said, my I guess competitive spirit and my love of life. I'm high on life. I love life. His blessing. And then the five kids, they were young. The youngest was 7, the oldest was 14, and then we have twins in the middle. It basically it was shocking, and so for me, it became like a challenge. I said, "You know what? I'm gonna beat this thing. It doesn't make sense." I felt I'm not like someone that might quote the Bible in because I study many masters, not only Jesus, but he's like my coach in terms of his teachings as a man. It's all there. One of the things I started to do things, playing games in terms of, okay, I'm gonna and that really, sometimes it didn't happen to me. I call them angels. When I made my decision and I surrendered to God, I said, look, these guys are trying to help me, but it's not happening. It's up to you. So my prayer was, give me some time to see my daughter's first communion, see the boys graduating from high school. Those are the things that were so important to me. Oh, forget the CTO and the cards or whatever. That was it, you know? And so that motivated me. And I started to look for things that probably could be odd, but I looked for survivors of my cancer. Because when it went to the brain, I had asked we're Christian Catholics. And so my daughters, which is the only daughter we have and the youngest of the five, her godparents are both doctors, and one is a surgeon. And so I asked him to come over while the kids were in school when I had the meds in the brain. And I want him to go into the New England Journal of Medicine and just read what my opponent or what my chances are. And so he came and he logged in. I mean, they all have access. And he's also from the Mediterranean, first generation born in Venezuela. In his case, his parents from Italy. And so we're very emotional. And he's about 6'4", tennis player as well. He started crying. He started having some tears. And so I looked at him and I said, well, let me read it. And obviously he said that I had a 4% chance of survival, or in about 3 to 6 months, I'll be gone. At the same time, Senator Kennedy had the same thing, melanoma with the mets in the brain, and he didn't make it. But when he tells me that, I read it first. He didn't tell me. I read it and I look at him and say, hey, Stefano, Steve, in Spanish, Stefano or Italian. I said, why can I be one of those 4 of the 100 that survived? In fact, I'll be one of them. So he hugged me and said, well, you see, God gave you that the disease to you, because if he gave it to me, I'll be dying I'll die of just being scared, anxiety, And that is an attitude. It's also the faith that you could just say, no way, this is not possible. So the moment that I understood that life, that didn't happen to me, and now I can see back and say, it happened for me. It happened to change my lifestyle and to really get in tune with my purpose, which, as but many few people, I mean, it is unusual to have somebody that can say, "Hey, man, I'm living my life purpose." And that's all because of the noise of society and all things that we do. We do it for our parents or grandparents, and at the end of the day, we live a life, and when we go to the end of it, whenever that is, because we don't know, we look back, and I believe me, especially with the craniotomies, the first thing, the things that I would actually think before they put me to sleep was, for example, the things that I failed to do, that I just say, one day I will do, one day I will do. And facing the fact that it may not happen.
Yeah.
So, this stuff is for me, like I said, it was a blessing. And now, I started with the book, but then I started with the coaching, and I tell my friends, I have invested more on my holistic coaching and being a functional nutritionist and now a hypnotherapist, Reiki master, things like that, than when in school, my MBA and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, but the bottom line is that I'm, so thankful every day. People, your audience, I recommend that you understand that our time is precious, is a non-renewable resource. And guess what? I mean, I look over now and say, "Man, we're in the middle of September. We just did Christmas." Yes. Time is flying, and
Yeah.
it's not coming back. So, and another thing that I learned before, I love to read. I have mentors that I don't even know personally, but I read them. And there's one that said, "Hey, it is so sad that many people live the same life for 85 years, without changing, it's just almost like chasing some sort of something that we call happiness." And really, if we know that we're healthy and we have a roof, we're enough.
Yeah.
Then after that, things happen. But, it's sad to see, especially with the youngsters. They're flying. And that's concerning because I can tell you, at least on last year, not so much this year, but last year I have 4 kids. I mean, one was 18, another one 24 boys, and another one 30. And of the three, two passed away. And they had melanoma. And actually, they were, very pretty much they needed vitamin D because they would not go in the sun. They were just not like outside people, very introvert.
Mm.
And so my dermatologist told me, no, George, they found out that melanoma is also emotional. So, you know, we can we can actually prevent this stuff from going on. And for example, if we don't change our ways by 2030, which is around the corner, half of our nation, half of the US adults will be obese.
I believe
So
it.
imagine. So imagine disease, and we call it healthcare. I don't know where we got that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah, I couldn't agree more on all of that. I'm really curious, like, whenever you decided to stop traditional treatments for cancer and take more of a holistic route, was there a certain thing that made you say, "This is what I wanna do now"? What was that exactly?
Yeah. One thing that I have to say, I'm not very fond of pharmaceuticals, but I'm so blessed of all the surgeons that caught me. If without them, you and I would not be talking now, especially the neurosurgeon, which at the time was 37 years old, but it was highly recommended. And, even like that, I prayed for the right people, the right anesthesiologist and so far. But what made my decision I kept thinking of it for about 6 months. I was okay, and I was, reading stuff on the pharmacy, God's pharmacy, all the natural stuff and nutrition. I don't really believe in extremes like, oh, I'm doing the keto, I'm doing completely vegan. I think we have to have a balanced diet. And I teach my clients how to prepare balanced pH plates.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're going to have red meat, because maybe your type of blood needs it. I mean, it's the biggest source of iron that we have. But if you eat it with fried stuff or carbs that will actually also be acidic, then you're creating a lot of acidic in your meal. But if you have it with greens or with a salad, then you're alkalining your plate. You have no reason to worry about it. But for me, what happened is that I went to my first craniotomy, and they had just found a drug, a chemo, Temodar, that I would drink in capsules 5 days in a week, Monday through Friday. Then I would rest, and then I would rest 1 week, and then we go again. On my second cycle of taking those capsules, I was going off the roof. I thought this thing would actually give me a heart attack or whatever. I just could not take that med. And I have to say that, at that moment, my my wife is in the medical world, and she was one that was very scared of my decision when I told her what was going to happen. But so I just in the morning I play the piano, and I will wake up. I have also a electrical piano, so I will put my headphones and play a little bit. I was writing stuff. I was so creative because I'm thinking, my goodness, I may not have enough time to do all this stuff that I love. But so doing that, I wrote a song. I woke up basically when you going with through something like in my case, so aggressive. Melanoma is very aggressive. I will wake up in the middle of the night, like at 3 in the morning, and then because of an angel after a mass in one morning, she says, I prayed, by the way, that to give me more time to help people. And this lady, which happened to be from Venezuela, where I'm from originally, she came and she said my name in Spanish, by the way. And I turned and she goes, hey, I need to ask you for a favor, Georges. And I go, yeah. And I thought of my prayer. Oh, she's asking me for help. And I just prayed about that. And she goes, I'm sure, just like Jesus was scared before he had his passion, that you wake up in the middle of the night. Is that right? Yeah. I said, yeah, every night. And I go around, I do a tour of the rooms. I see the kids and make sure my wife is okay. And then I sit on the couch or I play the piano. She goes, well, this is a favor I want you to do for me. Next time, which may be tonight, just go and open your Bible and focus on Jesus's miracles. And I realized that Jesus never said, hey, I'm the son of God, or I'm one of these masters that was coming to earth. Here I am. I healed you. No, he always said, and if you look at all his miracles, he said, your faith, Allison, your faith, Georges, have healed you. So that stuff was actually prepping me for my decision. And so on the second, it was Monday, the first of my second cycle, I just really felt that I couldn't take it. I thought, no, this is crazy. It's 8 years, surgery, treatment, no, surgery, remission, treatment, surgery again, recurrent surgery. And I'm thinking, no, this got to be another way. I mean, this is crazy. And so I went outside to our pool. Everybody was asleep. And all of a sudden I see the moon, full moon, which I love. And that's where the song came from. And I was actually, for the first time, mourning my mom. She died 3 weeks before my diagnosis. I had no chance for that. I just had to work on my survival. And I was missing her badly. And all of a sudden I was listening to music, and this song was just, it made me, which is, this is really, well, it's in the book, But it's really a true statement that tears are healing. Our tears is healing our soul. And so I stay there, I just cried, let it go, and I just kept actually allowed in a way, not allowed, but not intentionally. I would say, Mom, I really miss you, you know. I'm glad you're not here because she would have not take it, you know, being able to take it, being Greek and all the tragedy stuff. And so anyway, so I go in and I take a piece of paper and I wrote what I was really thinking, and that came up to be a song. It's called Beautiful Moon, Linda Luna. I wrote it in Spanish actually. And as I was doing that, I something came to me and said, "Man, you know, I have to take God's pharmacy. This is not working. This is just not working for me." So in the morning, I told my wife. She said, "You sure? I mean, you know?" I said, "Well, just keep it quiet for now, and obviously word through." But night is what made me decide. You know what? I'm going to start feeling better by just stopping this stuff, and I'm gonna detox myself and then go from there. And through that detox, when I went to see this naturopath, which he passed away last year, he was already an older man. I learned about, you know, the pH balance and your health. And which, by the way, I have some stuff that I would love to send you, especially, you know, the ebook on the pH balance. If people understand, he told me, look, disease cannot grow in a body that is balanced, the pH has a pH balance. And if you have the disease and you manage to balance your pH, you're going to destroy the environment for these cancer cells or whatever cells are doing the other chronic diseases. You just take it away. And little by little, you're going back to health just with that one tip. And so, yeah, that is what it made the decision for me. My second, when I took that one pill, that it was my sixth one, which by the way, those capsules were $1,000 each. So that's another thing. Yeah. But you know, we're talking about really the story of resilience and faith and decision, understanding things. You know, I have to share with you that, you know, for people, it's much easier to give than to receive. When somebody wants to give you something, sometimes even when you're going to, let's say, to lunch or dinner, no, 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 please, no, no, well, let's split it or whatever. We have a hard time receiving. And the key is to learn to receive. I say in my book that when somebody is giving you from the heart and you open your heart to receive, a divine channel opens where God makes the miracles. And when we ask for something and we don't receive it, you see somebody that say, well, I was praying for them and I got it. It's really a process. The reason we don't receive what we ask for is this is a universal law of this source. The reason we don't receive is because somewhere inside of us, we think we're not worth receiving.
Mm.
So we got to work on that. So when I work with my clients, I work the physical. I work, my metaphor is the four legs of a table: the physical table, the emotional leg, the mental leg, and the spiritual leg. If one of them is missing, that table cannot stand. And so, you know, we do the program through, and I work all of those. And obviously, we do a lot of visualization, a lot of stuff working for in terms of, you know, when we do hypnotism, which is deep meditation, that's what it is. And people find some stuff in there that they clear, man, they recuperate. I have so many success stories, and it's not me. It's them opening their heart and understanding that there are other alternatives, doctors included. You
Yeah.
know, I met some doctors already in some of the talks that I go that they're MDs, and now they call them their holistic MDs. They
Mm.
realized like me that this stuff was not working for them, and they started exploring other alternatives. You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
I love that. And, you know, like my background, I was trained in Western medicine originally, and through my own health struggles,
realized that, okay, like everything I've learned, everything I've spent my entire career learning and applying, like it's not helping me where I needed it. And so that's what turned me to the holistic route also. And then, you experience a diagnosis or a near death experience. And so it really is amazing how God uses those events in your life to change you and then use it to share with other people and to help other people. But I love how you just talked about like the impact that visualization and just mindset has on healing. I think that that is huge and something that's just not emphasized enough, just picturing yourself in a better, healthier body, healthier state of mind, and manifesting that.
Yeah.
Um, is
In
just,
in in one thing, and listen, that is very important to understand is that you understand it, what I'm going to say, but healing happens from the inside out, not from the outside in.
yeah,
No matter what, and because you know, something things cannot change right away. So, especially habits and beliefs, we have to work on those, especially beliefs that no longer serve you. Actually, they're hurting you. But, you know, I tell my clients, if you want to put a new couch in your living room, you need to take the old one out. You cannot put both in there. And that takes time. It's not like one day to another. And you have the same thing when I listen to some episodes and the title of the other ones. I'm thinking, wow, this is George's in the female version. Really? Because, and there's so many like us. And I'm so happy to start, I've been meeting more and more. It's in God's time, not in my time. All we have to do is just keep going forward because it is said that an intention without action becomes an illusion. And
yeah,
and we see that every year in New Year's Eve resolutions. Everybody has an intention, but if you don't put the action, that's it. It stayed as a okay, it was a wish.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. I feel like we could talk forever about all of
Oh
this.
yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I love your story and appreciate you sharing that with me and my listeners today. It's really inspiring and just it's just an awesome story. It really is. Is there anything else that you want to leave our listeners with today?
Yeah. My keynote talk is you can move your mountains. And I can tell you that you can move your mountains, whatever they are. It could be a divorce, it could be drugs, it could be whatever, losing your job, having to migrate to another country for many people. I came here when I was very young, I was 17, but yeah, you can move your mountains. And there is a quote that I have in my emails. I change it every 6 months, but the one I have now is no one will believe in you until you believe in you.
Love
Yeah.
that. Love that. Well, thank you so much for this,
Thank
George.
you for having me. And I thank God for meeting you. So that's awesome. Yes.
Yes. Awesome.
Thank you for being a part of my journey on What the Gut podcast. For a deeper dive into today's topics, head over to AllisonandWellness.com/whatthegut or find the detailed show notes linked below. Hey, and don't miss out on future episodes. Hit that subscribe button, and if you love this one, please leave me a review. Let's keep the conversation going over on Instagram. Connect with me and stay updated and engaged with my awesome community. Plus, share these valuable insights with your tribe. They deserve to feel as amazing as you do. You can find me at Allison_and_wellness on Instagram. Your support means the world to me. I'm looking forward to our next awesome chat. But until then, stay curious, don't drink too much coffee, keep the vibrant energy flowing, and take care of your gut. Catch you real soon. Oh, and hey, if you're ready to dive deeper into personalized wellness, check out my one-on-one health coaching program at AllisonandWellness.com. Let's make your journey to holistic health truly transformative.